Hello everyone, we're here today to examine the inner workings of leader-follower relationships and how they affect job performance and productivity. The three areas of importance include organizational studies, leadership as a relationship builder, and visioning and leadership as a social architect. Organizational leadership refers to the idea of a person guiding a group of people towards a common goal. Leadership as a relationship builder refers to the creation of interpersonal relationships both vertically and horizontally. Leadership as a social architect somewhat encompasses both previous topics, as it portrays how interpersonal relationships can strengthen work productivity and relational satisfaction. We will now begin to discuss these further. Organizational leadership encompasses the social exchange theory, which is a prominent staple in positive organizational leadership. This theory suggests that job performance and engagement is transactional, and that in order for someone to perform well, there must also be incentives to do so. My objective with this section is to address ways in which the social exchange theory can be beneficial to the entire organization, encompassing both leaders and followers. Now we're going to talk about employee engagement. So organizational studies uncover a requirement for employees to be engaged in their work. Active, voluntary engagement can lead to several different things, including improved individual productivity, increased turnover for businesses, improved organizational citizenship behaviors, greater managerial effectiveness, and increased customer satisfaction. On the contrary, a decreased level of active engagement can lead to reduced productivity, higher cost, and a decreased job satisfaction. Oftentimes, employee engagement is dependent on the leadership style and freedom of expression. The focus on the leaders listening and paying attention to followers' needs, the followers perceiving that leaders are available to them. Organizational studies can have a profound effect on the way we view leader-follower relationships and help mold our understanding of what is required in order to maintain a healthy, productive work environment. As leaders, we must engage our employees in a positive way in order for them to be willing to engage in their work. If an employee feels undervalued or taken for granted, their productivity will more than likely falter due to disengagement. In motivating the social exchange theory, a follower must first see their leader making sacrifices and decisions for the follower before they will be able to reciprocate with positive action. This will inevitably motivate the follower to care and work diligently for the company in order to ensure future rewards for self-gain and promotion. Now we're going to move into inclusive and ethical leadership as far as organizational leadership goes. So the central objectives for inclusive leadership are commitment, which encompasses the fact that an inclusive leader must be committed to both their followers and the organization as a whole. They must exhibit courage, as they must have the courage to make difficult decisions and to be an advocate for their followers. They must have cognizance of bias, meaning they must understand their own biases and be able to set apart their personal biases from professional relationships within the organization itself. Cultural intelligence is something that inclusive leadership wraps itself around, because they must be aware of cultural differences within the group members and work to accommodate cultural beliefs in their followers in order to have a productive work environment. Curiosity has to be relevant as well, as an inclusive leader must always be eager to seek out new opportunities and is willing to think outside of the box when things get difficult. Collaboration is kind of the main point of inclusive leadership. They have to be able to encourage their followers to work for the betterment of both the organization and interpersonal relationships, as well as interprofessional relationships. The central objectives of ethical leadership are a little bit different, but still kind of go hand in hand with inclusive leadership. So they have to have law compliance. An ethical leader follows laws and regulations put into place both by the organization and the government. They have to have moral business conduct, as in they have to exhibit morality in the workplace in order to encourage positive relationships with their peers and followers. They also, in hand with business conduct, have to have moral personal conduct. They must exhibit moral conduct in their personal lives and via social media in order to encourage good company reputations. You don't want anybody to go on social media posting something that is of low moral value that could have negative effects on the company or the organization. The positive relationship between inclusive leadership at the team level and employee voice at the individual level is mediated by carrying ethical climate at the team level. Effective leadership is only possible when followers view their leaders as inclusive, ethical, and approachable. If a leader exhibits certain biases that directly relate to a follower, then that follower may be less inclined to approach the leader out of fear or rejection or discrimination. If a leader is seen as inclusive and understanding of an individual's needs, a follower is more inclined to speak up and express concerns relating to job performance and productivity. Similarly, if a leader expresses low morality, they may be seen as untrustworthy by followers and therefore less respected. If a leader is always ethical in their decision-making, both inside and outside of the organization, then their followers will be more trusting of management, as they know that they will always do what is legal and ethical. Now we're going to move into what they call citizenship behaviors. This kind of encompasses how people see themselves within an organization. So there are two distinctive citizenship behaviors that have been observed in organizational leadership studies. The first of which is organizationally directed citizenship. In this type of citizenship, members contribute to overall organizational productivity and adhere to informal rules designed to maintain organizational order. In individually directed citizenship, members indirectly contribute to the organization through their helping behaviors that include information and task sharing. Usually these are the type of individuals that go above and beyond to make sure things that are working properly and to the best of their knowledge. So organizationally directed citizenship is somewhat directed by the social exchange theory, in that it is a form of reciprocation in which employees engage in organizational tasks in lieu of expectations of good and fair treatment from the organization. Followers also engage in this type of citizenship because it is plainly spelled out in their job description. While there may be no desire to actually fill certain duties, the fulfillment of them regardless happens because it is their purpose within the company to fulfill their job duties. Individually directed citizenship, on the other hand, represents individuals going past their normal job duties for the betterment of the organization. Characteristics of these type of citizenship members include altruism, courtesy, keeping the peace, and usually cheerleading the efforts directed at other individuals within the group in order to maintain a steady growth going onto the main point of the whole group. Now we're going to switch gears a little bit and move from organizational leadership to leadership as a relationship builder. Personal relationships are important both in personal and professional lives. Within an organization, a leader's ability to create personal relationships with their followers can strongly benefit the organization, as well as the well-being of all of its members, including the leader themselves. In the following, we'll review different tactics for creating relationships within a professional world. So emotional expression is something that's seen as a little bit taboo sometimes in a professional stance, but there are actually several benefits to allowing authentic emotional expression in leader-follower relationships. Some of these include the promotion of positive psychological capabilities, the promotion of a positive ethical climate, the fostering of a greater self-awareness for both the leader and the follower, fostering an internalized moral perspective, understanding one's place in a society, the promotion of positive self-development, and a natural human connection in interprofessional relationships, allowing somebody to have a deeper connection, whether professional or personal. Leaders tend to think that it is inappropriate to display emotion, whether it be happy, sad, or frustrated, etc., in the workplace, out of fear of it being inappropriate. As you'll see in the referenced document, Yagle and Medler tend to disagree, as they believe that by displaying unconventional aspects of himself or herself, rather than maintaining a perfect leader image, An authentic leader may generate the sense that followers can also deviate from prototypes and engage in genuine self-expression. These two argue that followers are more likely to engage in authentic expression with their leaders if their leaders do the same. If leaders fail to do this, followers may feel as though they cannot express themselves without persecution, and this may lead to inevitable job dissatisfaction and contempt for the leader themselves. Authentic leadership provides followers with an environment that allows authentic self-expression by demonstrating that being natural is acceptable. Moving on to group prototypicality. This definition is to embody what is defining of group identity. So this basically says that group prototypicality introduces trust in leaders' motivation to pursue the group's best interest and therefore openness to the leader's influence. So prototypicality can be embodied both by groups as well as leaders within the groups. The word prototypicality can be broken down into the root word prototype. This references that there is a set standard in which someone or some group is supposed to perform. In the role of a leader, this prototype may be expressed as being firm on policies, expectant of deadlines to be met, someone with good organizational skills, etc. These prototypes shift when someone is involved in a group situation. If one belongs to a group, even a leader within the group, they are to act in the best interest of the group. One major instance of this that I can think of as an example is the president acting in favor of the nation. Although the president holds a high standing within the country, they are still considered a citizen and active participant within society. Moving on, we're going to go to emotionally competent prototypicality. So now we're going to kind of mesh the last two topics of emotionally competent leadership and prototypicality together. Combining the two previous aspects of relationship building among leaders, there are 4 key factors that affect a leader's effectiveness to govern a group. The first is self-awareness. The second is willingness to delegate. The third is a strong interpersonal skill. And the fourth is a participative management style. So self-awareness itself encompasses many attributes of an effective leader. A self-aware leader is cognizant of their strengths as well as their weaknesses and is able to adjust their leadership style in order to compensate for their shortcomings. This may lead to our next point, their willingness to delegate. Delegation not only takes the burden off of a single individual, but it establishes trust between leader and follower because it shows that the leader trusts the follower to complete the task appropriately. Interpersonal skills are necessary when conducting a group because the leader must be able to meet the needs of each group member individually. The leader is often the point of reference when giving presentations and handling transactions with customers, and this person must be competent both in cordial and heated situations. Leaders are often seen as looming presences within groups, sometimes to a negative effect. Effective leaders participate in the success of the group and hold themselves accountable if something does not go out as it should. Participative management encompasses servant leadership and that the leader works for the followers, not the other way around. Okay, now we're going to move on to our third and final topic, visioning in leadership as a social architect. So having a vision for a better future has propelled human existence and advancement throughout the history of time. The same can be true when looking at industrial and organizational models. A vision or a common goal that leaders and followers both agree on can help create a working atmosphere that is beneficial to both leaders and followers, as well as the organization as a whole. We will now discuss leadership styles that promote vision cultivation as well as follower attributes that lend to goal attainment. So the first topic we're going to speak on in visioning leadership is transformational leadership. So there are several attributes kind of to transformational leaders, but I've kind of summed up the top 3. So transformational leaders participate in the following actions. They broaden and elevate the interest of their followers. They generate awareness and commitment of individuals to the purpose and mission of the group as a whole. and they enable subordinates to transcend their own self-interest for the betterment of their group. So they ask people to put aside their personal beliefs and decisions so that they can come together and accomplish a task that's better for the organization and the group itself. So through idealized influence, leaders enact what is right rather than what is cost effective, and employees who see their leaders doing the right thing may trust and respect them and have positive perceptions of interpersonal justice. Leaders who outwardly show that they have their employees' best interest at heart are more likely to be successful when implementing transformational leadership styles. People are more willing to work hard for someone that they believe in, aside from somebody that they see as untrustworthy or lazy. One example that comes to mind is that of yearly bonuses, for example. At one company, a manager may get a yearly bonus of $10,000 based on their employees' sales for that year. If the manager does not share that bonus with the employees, even though they are not legally entitled to share that with the employees, they may view their manager as greedy or self-seeking, and therefore may be less inclined to be as productive the next year. On the other hand, if the manager were to share their bonus with the employees, since the employees are inevitably the reason they got their bonus in the first place, they may be more inclined the following year to boost sales because they are expecting a benefit at the end of the year. A manager may be better able to motivate their employees towards a common goal at this point because they expressed fairness in the working situation. Okay, the next section we're going to go over is autonomy in visioning for leadership. Autonomy represents an individual's ability to self-govern and carry out tasks independently. There are different factors that can affect an individual's ability to be autonomous within an organization, including psychological well-being, leader encouragement, their own self-esteem, and their confidence in performing the task. Transformational leadership promotes autonomy by employing a creative style that inspires employees to make independent decisions and develop in their work. Coaching a follower to be autonomous is sometimes necessary, but it should always be brought about with respect and open conversations about what the expectations are. Employees with high levels of autonomy may either make it easier for the manager to exert transformational leadership behaviors, or they may find it easier to benefit from these behaviors because they view the manager's behavior in a positive manner and may feel capable of rising to a challenge. When individuals feel their qualities, characteristics, and capacities do not satisfy when engaging in autonomous actions, they experience an impending sense of immediate punishment, which manifests as anxiety and agitation. So a vision statement is something that a company normally puts out, and it's kind of defined as the following. A vision statement encapsulated the future of an organization and serves as the framework for strategic, operational, and business planning. Vision statements are necessary for strategy and execution, and they can be held both for organizations in its entirety or within the groups that comprise the company as a whole. Visioning and learning as a social architect has roots within the creation and implementation of said vision statements. Often, people view vision statements as permanent views of a company's long-term mission. Why can't mission and vision statements be created for short-term goals within a group? Transformational leadership and follower autonomy go hand in hand with the creation of vision statements in maintaining a steady increase in productivity as well as achieving a task as a unit. Transformational leaders are often seen as visionaries as they set a goal for the prototypical group to attain together. Short-term or long-term vision and mission statements can be beneficial to the completion of a task and for role satisfaction within a group. To conclude, my personal leadership style is that of service towards my followers in a way that makes them feel included and valued in decision-making processes. Servant leadership is something that I strive for because I believe that it is important to work for your employees in order to achieve the best possible outcomes. This idea of servant leadership lines up well with the social exchange theory mentioned in the organizational leadership section. In the forming of relationships, servant leadership allows for the leader to come down to the level of the follower and to create meaningful relationships and strive for professional excellence. Visioning in leadership encompasses the idea of servant leadership in that the leader can set a goal for the group, and then the whole group, including the leader, can strive towards the completion of said goal. Thank you for your time.